So for many years now, we have been incredibly grateful to TV show Right This Minute for including parts of our videos in their viral video TV show. And though we love all their hosts, for us, the hostess with the mostest is Gayle Bass. She has given us so much support, help, and even visited, first in person and recently in a Google Meet.
Well, how are you doing, Gayle?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am just fine. Of course, I've got your friend with me.
Yes, you do.
This is Belle, the one that you got to go fly.
I did. You know what's so funny about that is everybody's like, I can't believe you got to go do that.
That's okay. And I'm going to walk her over here, and then we'll let her fly to you for her breakfast.
Yes, sir.
Right there.
Make sure that I got this.
Here she comes. He says, "You got my breakfast."
I got your breakfast. Just what you want.
There's still more.
You know, she didn't even offer to share, to split it. She's such a beauty. Can I just tell you, I showed a picture of me with that golden eagle that you have, that very big guy. And I told my friends, you know, I've done TV segments where I've held snakes. I've held all kinds of different animals. I've played with baby lions, and baby lions are like playing with a full-grown dog. They like, the cubs still have power. But when I got close to that golden eagle, that's the one time where I was like, this thing could hurt me.
Yeah, well, you know, I used to work in the movie and television industry, training big cats and elephants and bears and that kind of stuff. So I worked with a lot of the different big cats, and even a baby lion can hurt you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they're so strong and powerful. You know, Martin, I wanted to ask you a question really quick. That area that you guys, was it a power plant that was, it was a power plant that they decommissioned, and the dam, well, who created that dam for you? Was it the Army Corps of Engineers?
No, the dam actually is historic. It was built in the 1930s as a Civilian Conservation Corps project. Okay. And it originally was a small reservoir to be a water source for Cedar City. Mm-hmm. But they didn't take into account all of the mud and silt and sediment that comes down that stream. And so that used to be a reservoir that was 20 feet deep. And in 2 years it filled up. And so it became, from going to a reservoir, it became a drop structure instead of a reservoir. So it was a failure, basically. But it makes a nice waterfall.
Well, that's great, because I ran across some CCC buildings while I was doing a trail hike in South Phoenix, and I just realized, you know what? I think that was either Army Corps of Engineers or CCC that Martin told me about. So that's what made it pop up in my mind, and I thought I have to ask when I talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah. There's quite a number of CCC projects around the southern Utah area. In fact, we have so many national parks, and most of the original structures of the national parks were CCC projects. So a lot of history there.
So how are you guys faring during this pandemic? Because I know for you, you work with the animals a lot, and animals don't care if there's a pandemic going on. They still need to be rescued and fed and cared for.
Well, that's true. You know, as far as the wildlife rescue is concerned, it's been a tremendously busy year. We're into the springtime where we get all of the orphans, and so you know, I just released 2 peregrine falcons and a golden eagle back to the wild last Sunday. I've got another bald eagle and a red-tailed hawken that we're working on. I've got 5 or 6 hummingbirds that we are hand raising, a covey of quail, and some all sorts of little songbirds, little phoebes and sparrows and robins and finches, and have had our share of little rabbits and even a wood rat. So it's, you know, the critters need help. The only thing the pandemic has done to make things a little hard for us, hey sweet girl, is that I do between 100 and 200 wildlife shows a year, and those are all canceled.
Right.
And so that's been a little bit tough, because I'm not able to get out, and so I'm, the good thing is I'm home. My wife has a honeydew list that's a mile long. So
Give her my best, by the way.
I will. Thank you, Gayle. And so I did, to be honest with you, I did do one thing that's kind of been on my bucket list ever since childhood. I've always wanted to make my own guitar.
Oh, well, that's cool.
And so I decided, since I had the time, and that was kind of a month-long project, and built a guitar that is a one-of-a-kind, kind of a copy of a 100-year-old Martin guitar design, and just so I like to build things. So that was kind of keep me occupied.
One of the many things we love about Gayle is that we are but one of the many organizations she helps. In addition to her TV show host job, she finds ways to assist many others. So we asked her about her giving philosophy.
For me, it all started with a conversation I had with somebody at church, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, where she was like, you know what, I always thought you'd be on TV, but what else are you doing? And she reminded me of that verse, to do kingdom work for our Creator. And I just thought, what am I doing for other people? I'm doing well job-wise, but what am I doing for other people? And so I started, somebody from church invited me to help feed the homeless, and I did it 1 week, got addicted after the first week, and just have continued with that group, now serving on their board of directors. And we call ourselves a working board because we all work. We all get down no matter the temperature, 52 weeks a year, hot. And I mean, it can get hot in Phoenix this time of year, early in the morning. And, in the winter, it could get down into the 20s and 30s. We are out there Sunday morning making sure that people get a meal. But I thought there's got to be more. I could do more than just Sunday morning work, because people say, oh, that's great what you're doing. I'm like, that's easy work. That's really easy work to go hand out something, make a meal on a Saturday night and hand it out. That's easy work to me. I thought there's got to be more. And, conservation has always been in my heart ever since I was little. So I thought anything that I could do work-wise that highlighted being eco-friendly, helping the animals, it would be something that's important to me. I've had a horse, I've had cats, I've had a dog, I've had a rabbit. So, I've had hamsters. So for me, animals have always been part of how I live, taking them in, making sure they're cared for. It's so funny that you mentioned you had a covey of quail. Like yesterday morning, there was a covey of quail running by the pool. It's just like the mama and her 10 little babies. And it just amused me greatly because they were so tiny. And it had been about a year since I'd seen some. So being able to highlight those stories to people helps people be just a little more aware if you put them on social media about what's around them. Like people in my neighborhood will say, I didn't even know there were quail around here. I'm like, just walk past the canal. They're there. And by the way, be careful when it's dark in the morning. You might see javelina. So it's always, I think that, I care for all creatures, great and small. That's simply it. That's why it's important to me.
Yes, Belle is agreeing. She's talking a little bit. She's kind of looking around, wondering, why are we sitting here? Why aren't we out chasing rabbits or something instead of just sitting here? But yeah, no, I think, to be honest with you, I think that's what attracted me to you and to your program is it's obvious that not only you but the rest of your staff just really has a passion for animals, and we greatly appreciate. I put 50 years in educating people. I see a really big nose sticking up.
That's Walter.
Hey, Walter. He says, yeah, right there under the chin. That's the place.
He loves that.
Oh, absolutely. But that's, and so it's kind of it's a kindred spirit thing. And I'm so grateful when I meet other people that go out of their way to help critters, but humans are critters too. So helping humans counts.
Oh, yeah. And it's a lot about education, like letting people know, what you have in your neighborhood. This is a great neighborhood for like a hawk, or like there's a red-tailed hawk here. Or like the other night, I was walking on a golf course, and it was like, at first I thought, is that a cat? And then I thought, no, that's not a cat. There was an owl sitting on a golf course right at dusk, just looking around. And I just thought, oh, wow. And of course, somebody nearby was like, well, let me go see it. I'm like, don't step close. And as soon as they made one step toward it, it flew off. And I'm like, no, you missed it. We could just sit there and stare at it, kind of like the ocean.
Well, a story I tell people, I grew up in California, but when I moved here to Utah more than 40 years ago, and then offering my service as a volunteer wildlife rehabilitator, I was averaging about a dozen shot eagles every year.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't that the people of Utah hated eagles. They just saw no value in them. And so basically they go out to the agricultural areas here in Utah, and they'd see a big bird on a pole. They says, well, there's a big bird, let's shoot it. Mm-hmm. And 40 years of school programs and 40 years of scout programs and 40 years of community event programs with like Belle here and my eagle and everybody. There's nothing I could do for the good old boys, but I could teach their children.
Absolutely.
And so nowadays, I get a shot bird of prey of any kind, one every few years.
Oh, that's good.
It is really good. And so I personally, I see the world is changing. I see people having more respect for wildlife and more respect for the environment in which they live. We've still got a long ways to go, and like I said, we can't fix the old folks. They're going to be who they are.
Yeah,
but we can teach the kids.
One of the interesting things that we've noticed on our show and sharing animal videos during the pandemic, during COVID-19 restrictions, is around the world, depending on what kind of restrictions the countries have put in place, it's where, you might see a picture in the New York Times of a peacock just strutting down a main street somewhere because there are no people populating the areas. We had this amazing story. I forgot about what country it is. It's on the Pacific Rim, where all these starfish had turned up on this beach. And they say that's because there were no people allowed. And I just thought, how wonderful. I thought maybe every 10 years, we should just have a 2-week period where we stay home and let the animals kind of come out, do their thing, see the world, and we act like the animals in the zoo, and they look at us. Because we have pictures like that of those giant cassowary birds in Australia. Yes. They went to somebody's window, and it was like they were the zoo animals. And cassowaries, they can hurt you.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like I said, and certainly you and your program helps us in this respect. It's allowing people to see animals in a kind of a different light. There's a lot of documentaries, National Geographic's, Animal Planet kinds of stuff, and those are absolutely wonderful, and I love all of those shows. But to see animals as they are interacting with humans, I think brings a different perspective, so that's why when I do my shows, they get to see these guys up close and personal, but they get to see how intelligent they are, how beautiful they are. My eagle is very mischievous. He likes to steal my glasses and throw them out into the audience, and people just get a real kick out of my eagle teasing me. And I think that in itself does more than watching a documentary of eagles off at a distance, to actually see them up close and personal.
You know what? I've learned a lot about animal behavior on Right This Minute and watching segments like yours. Like whenever we have a segment from you, like I might focus on one thing because, you know, you might have 30 minutes of video and I have to boil it down to like 2 minutes. And I'm like, now look what it like. Did you know the bird will store its food right there and store it in its chest because it only has a gizzard? And, you know, it'll be one thing I can focus on. I'm like, so that's how birds process their food. Okay. And there's always something I learned. And one thing I learned is eagles are big thieves because
they are.
We had a video from Alaska where this fishing trawler comes in and the eagles know what's on it and they immediately swarm because they're birds of opportunity. And so, or when people are fishing, they'll swoop in and steal the fish. I mean, eagles are great video when it's not, you know, majestic scenes, purple mountains majesty is gliding through the air. But when it has to eat, it'll steal your lunch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, we have a condor up on the mountain above my hometown here that keeps getting himself into trouble because this condor, if you have a picnic up on top of the mountain, he likes to fly down and steal your picnic.
And people think it's only seagulls.
Yeah, no, condors will do that too. In fact, really all animals are truly, they're opportunistic. They're looking for the easiest meal and you know, we're the same. This is why McDonald's and Taco Bell work so well, because we're looking for the easiest meal. Right. And so there's a correlation there, and I appreciate being able to demonstrate that you know, that these are animals, we're animals. There's room for all of us. You know, we just have to try to get along with each other.
Okay, I know you work with the birds, but you said you worked with animals and doing TV stuff and movie stuff early on.
Yes.
Why is it when bears get into somebody's car, they don't just get in and steal the food, they get in and they tear it up? I've noticed that in a few videos that we've had in the past where when a bear gets in your car is dust. You're gonna have repairs.
Yeah, and the reason for that is bears in the wild, when they're grubbing for food, they are turning over logs, they're turning over boulders, they're digging, they're tearing, and if they're in your car looking for food, they're going to do exactly the same thing.
Okay, I have to use that in the next time we get a bear video.
Yeah, the bear's just being a bear. That's what they do, and you know, and just imagine a bear as a pet in your living room.
Well, you know, we've had video where the bear will go into the house and open the refrigerator. And it's like, they're evolving. They're evolving. They know how to open the fridge.
Well, they have such a great sense of smell. And the truth of the matter is, if they go to the wrong side of the door, on the side that doesn't open, they'll tear the door off.
Oh.
So be grateful.
The bear would have been.
They found the right door, the side of the door. Because, you know, they're extremely powerful creatures, and again, it's a matter of understanding them and respecting them. You know, people ask me, because I'm up in the wilds a lot doing what I do with the critters, and I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm all by myself, and you know, and I have come across bears, I've come across cougars, I've come across a lot of wildlife. And people ask, does it ever scare me? And it's like, no. To be honest with you, I'm a whole lot more comfortable being face to face with a bear than walking down, you know, some big metropolitan city where there's like 10,000 people in my way. You know, I know what the bear's going to do. I don't know what people are going to do.
True.
And so that the bear's more comfortable for me.
And as he's often a star on her Instagram, we asked Gayle if she wanted to speak about dad bass.
Oh, I need to get him a camera. I need to get a camera for Mr. Bass. I need to get him a little bird bath. Yesterday was a report he had a little bunny in his backyard. He recently he lives in San Diego, and he lives about 20 minutes away from the coast by freeway. So he's inland, and inland San Diego is a little bit different. Like, for people who aren't familiar with San Diego, when you hear the weather report, you get 3 different weather reports. You get coastal, inland, then mountains and deserts. And my dad is between coastal and inland. And basically he lives in this kind of, he lives in a terrain that is basically should be scrub on a hill. And they get deer, they have coyotes, and they get lots of wild rabbits. But one day my family was there. We're all visiting Dad one Sunday, and we looked outside, and this roadrunner zips to my dad's barbecue, because that's where all the lizards in his backyard kind of congregate under his stationary barbecue. And the roadrunner came and ate it right up, right in front of everybody. We were all stunned. And then my dad says, "This is why I like retirement. I see stuff like this every day. I just come out here and look. You know, the house is empty and I'm fine. I just come look and watch all the little creatures and everything." So that's why I want a cam for my dad's backyard, because there's always something interesting he's telling me about in his one small little backyard, but it abuts this open area. So he sees some of everything. He has beautiful hawks that fly over, but he's got this roadrunner that regularly comes in his backyard. The roadrunner and the rabbits. It's like R&R Bass household.
A roadrunner is how my sweet wife Susan and I met.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did she drop a handful on you?
Well, basically, back in Simi Valley, California, where I grew up, everybody knew that I took care of critters, and a family there basically had an injured roadrunner and brought it to me, and they invited me to their church. And I met Susan at church.
Oh, you met at church.
And so the roadrunner is kind of what brought us together. And Susan absolutely loved animals. And her mother basically told her that there's a young man investigating the church, and he really likes animals. Be nice to him. And after about 2 weeks, her mother pulled her aside and said, "Susan, don't be that nice."
Well, I say it's worked out well for the both of you.
It has. We've been married 42 years, and certainly the love of my life. It's okay, Belle. Oh, yeah. Cody, that's just the neighbors. You provide. Our dog saw our neighbors pulling with a horse trailer.
Does Cody still look like a zebra?
Actually, not quite. Susan basically dyed his tail and the top of his head pastels, pinks, blues, and purples. And so she tortures that poor thing, but he likes the attention, so I guess he puts up with it.
Sounds like you're not dipping my feather in any paint.
Yeah, no. No.
Oh, Cody's a sweet dog.
He is. He loves everybody. He's never met a human that wasn't his best friend. And so, Gayle, if you ever come back up here, Cody will greet you like he's your long lost best friend, and tag along with you wherever you go. He loves everybody.
That's Walter's problem. He's not any kind of guard dog, which I really shouldn't say publicly, but he's not.
Yeah.
I would do it based on what I just saw Martin do when he got that check from the Subaru company. You brought one of the ladies that works at your dog grooming place, and you let her do it, and you told her how to hold it and just shove it, basically. Right. And I thought, I could do that. That's how I take clothes out of the laundry. I could do that.
Well, and like I've told people, in 50 years of wildlife rescues and releases, no one, as long as they follow my instructions, nobody's ever gotten a scratch.
Right.
But I'm very careful to make sure that they do it correctly, because they can be dangerous animals if they're not handled properly. And that goes with everything. So, but like I said, it's, oh my God, it's just a joy to see you again. You know, we had so much fun, and I so appreciated you coming up and hanging out with Susan and I for a day, and we'd love to have you come back and take you for another wander if you ever get a chance.
You know, are you sure? Or did she say I concur?
Actually, Cody moved. Cody's been on the couch, and I've had the computer screen kind of blocking Belle's view of Cody, and now Cody's moved over to the chair across the room. So she just let Cody know that she's the boss in no uncertain terms, and he better behave himself.
You know, what's funny is that I've told so many people about going up there that everybody now wants to go to St. George with me and then go to that beautiful area you showed me. Not Kolob Canyons. I went to that on another day, but what was that beautiful national, with all that stunning, we went up to the cliff and it was that stunning rock area at the top of the mountain where you said you were going to take me up to see some trees change colors, because I'd never seen that in person, only in pictures.
Yeah, I took you up to Cedar Breaks.
That's it. And I was telling about, you gotta go see this. They're like, well, how do you get there? I'm like, well, you go straight to St. George and then you take a car and drive over to Cedar City.
Yeah, you know, it's people don't understand. You know, with the kind of thing that I do, vacation is something that we don't have.
Right.
In fact, the only vacation Susan and I, real life vacation that we've ever had was our honeymoon over 40 years ago. But you know, taking care of these guys, you know, you're on the clock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't really get vacation. So we live in a beautiful place, and so I don't have to go on vacation.
That's true. That really is true. It's a beautiful, I was telling somebody yesterday, Utah's real pretty if you've never been. And it is lovely. And it's always lovely to speak with you. I really appreciate the fact that you guys wanted to chat with me. I'm like, me? All I have is a dog and some lizards in the backyard.
Well, you know, you were you know, I have a lot of people come up and go wandering with me and stuff. You had a joy and an enthusiasm and a willingness to say, okay, I'll put on a glove. I'll try to follow you. You know, we just kind of whatever.
Okay, I've been handed a hawk before, and it was at the Wildlife World Zoo and Aquarium in the Phoenix area. And as soon as it got on my hand, it took off and went up into a tree. And my first thought was, how much is that going to cost me? Because I didn't know it was going to come back.
Well,
and I knew my employer probably didn't want to have to pay for that hawk.
Yeah, no, as long as they're handled properly, that's not an issue.
It was they were highly amused at my fear. I'm like, I lost the hawk like immediately.
Yes. Well, like I said, we really appreciated that you were willing to come up and hang out with us, and you know, get to learn a little bit more about Southern Utah and what we do and who we are, and would love to have you come back sometime. And there's so much more I'd like to show you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I mean, you guys probably get requests or people come and they just, you know, they're not as interested, but man, we just loved every minute of it. For me, it wasn't like work. It was like play. Let me say this. Thanks for letting Right This Minute come and feature what you do. You know, at Right This Minute, we like to find great viral videos, and you guys do excellent videos because people love the animals, and you guys just help us share those stories. And so we really appreciate it.